Here are the problems that we had on the very last quiz, homework assignment prior to the final exam. Someone wants to take some money out of the individual retirement account to have $14,500 left after paying 30% tax to the IRS. Notice that that is 30% of the amount withdrawn, not 30% of the $14,500. So if the amount withdrawn is unknown and you take away 30% of it, and again, this X is understood to be 1X, if you take away 30% of it, you're going to be left with 1 minus 0.3, which is 0.7 or 70% of X. Therefore, you divide 14,500 by 0.7, and according to the directions, it says round it to the nearest dollar. So if you don't round it to the nearest dollar, you're going to lose points. And you can verify that with your calculator. The 2 is the only digit that determines whether or not the answer is 14 or 15. All right, number 2, here's that car again. First thing you have to do is read the problem and understand it. The fees are not taxed because what's taxed is the actual cost of the car, which is 5% less than the sticker price. So the first thing we have to do is subtract the fees off. And after we do that, we divide by 1.06. Where did the 1 come from again? Well, the actual cost of the car is taxed by 6%, which means 6% of it is added to it, resulting in 106% of the actual cost. And that's why you've got to divide by 1.06. And that answer represents not the sticker price, but the sticker price less 5%. Well, if 5% of the sticker price goes away, that means this is the other 95%. Problem 3 was kind of tricky. This asks for what percent will the area decrease. Now, the area of the old square was 5.3 on a side, is 5.3 squared. You subtract the area of the new squares, which is 4.7 squared. Then you divide that difference by 5.3. You can do this much better with a scientific calculator because it's really helpful. 5.3 squared turns out to be 28.09. And we're going to subtract 4.7 squared. 4.7 squared is 22.09. And it will square those two before it subtracts them. But now we have to say equals, because if I say divided by 5.3 squared, it's going to divide 2209 by that. So I got to say equals, which is 6. And that's going to be divided by 5.3 squared. And when I hit the squared button, it's going to square 5.3. When I hit the equal sign, it will divide, because squaring exponent comes before division. And that turns out to be, oh my goodness, 21.36%, because it says to round it off to the nearest 0.01. 0.01 has 2 decimal places, and so should the answer by those directions. Number 4, also kind of tricky, very tricky indeed. This beaker, it's a large beaker, it's not full, but it has 380 milliliters of saline, which means salt solution. The concentration is 30%, meaning 30% of that solution is salt. So 380 times 30% changed to a decimal is 114 milliliters of salt. What I want to do is take that water and salt and add some more salt to it. How much? I don't know, X milliliters, so that the concentration increases to 50%. So I want the total volume is going to be 380 plus X milliliters of salt, and the total salt is going to be 114 milliliters plus the X that was added. And we want the right-hand side to be 50%, the left-hand side. Multiplying out, 0.5 times 380 is 190, 0.5 times X is 0.5X, equals 114 plus X. I'm subtracting 114 from both sides and subtracting 0.05 from both sides to avoid negative numbers, because it's a little easier that way. 190 minus 114 equals X minus 0.5X. And this is 76 equals 0.5X divided by 0.5, which is the same thing as multiplying by 2, and you get 152. So if you add 152 milliliters of salt to the existing 380 milliliters of solution, it will be 50% salt, and the other 50% is water. Number 5, we've done a bunch of these because we have. And we got A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's, 5, 8, 17, 4, and 3. You must add that up correctly or you're not likely to get any of these right. That's the number of students. So first thing you do is take each of these grades, 5, 8, 17, 4, 3, divide by the number of students, change that to a decimal, change that decimal to a percent by moving the point 2 places to the right. And it says to the nearest 0.1%. Now 0.1% has one digit to the right of the point, and that's what we have to have here also. It turns out that this is 13.51, and the 1 is not big enough to bump it up to 13.6. Likewise, when you divide 8 by 37, the 2 is not big enough to bump it up to 21.7. And when you divide 17, the 4 is not big enough to bump it up to 46.0 is what it would be if it were 5 or more. And the 1 is not big enough to bump it up to 10.8. And likewise, 8.081 is 8.1%. The 0 is not big enough. Number 6. All right. We got some variation problems. Okay, so 9 painters can paint 12 houses in 11 weeks. What that means is the painters times the time is directly proportional to the number of houses they can paint. So 9 times 11 divided by 12, that's going to be 99 over 12. And that has to equal, on these problems, the workers times the time divided by the work. So for problem number 6, 19 painters in 13 weeks is 19 times 13 divided by X, because I don't know how many they can paint, equals 99 over 12. Cross multiplying, I get 99x equals 12 times 19 times 13. And on my calculator, again, we don't need the scientific for this, but it's easier just to do 12 times 19 times 13, 12. Look at every single number times 19 times 13. And we don't need to know what that is, but when we say divided by, it'll tell us. And I got to divide that by 99. And I get 29.93, looks like repeating. And it says round to 2 decimal places. If you don't round it to 2 decimal places, you're going to get points taken off. So to 2 decimal places, this is 29.939, and the 9 is big enough to make it 94. Number 7, once again, the workers times the work is directly proportional, the workers times the time is directly proportional to the amount of work that can be done. So 41 weeks, X workers, so X times 41 over 39, again, must equal 99 over 12. Cross multiply, I get 12 times 41X must equal 39 times 99. X must equal 39 times 99 divided by 12 times 41. And you notice I don't write out what 39 times 99 and 12 times 41 are, because it doesn't make any difference. I can just do 39 times 99 divided by 12. Now, here's the tricky part. It's 12 times 41, but I'm not using parentheses 12 times 41, close parentheses. So I'm going to divide that by 12 and then divide that by 41. 7.847, and the 7 is big enough to bump it up to 7.85. And there it is. And number 8, how long will it take 24 painters to paint 47 houses? Again, X number of weeks, 24X over 47 must equal 99 over 12. Cross multiply, I get 12 times 24X must equal 47 times 99. 12 times 40, okay. You can just stop right here and take your calculator out and just say 47 times 99. 47, look at every single number times 99. At this point, you can divide by 12 and divide by 24 if you want to, or you can write it all out. Just saves time to divide it by, if you're going to divide it by 12 times 24, just divide it by 12 and then divide it by 24. And voila, 16.16, because this 6 is big enough to bump the second place up from 5 to 6. All right, little series here. We're getting serious. Number 9. I would go to Wolfram Alpha and key in those words. This is how you were taught to, and yes, you may use Wolfram Alpha on the test. And here we get a chance to look at this. Is the sum from 1 to 1366 of 9K minus 6, is that what we have here? Yes, it is. So the answer is 8,394,753. Wow, that's cool. Some folks like to work these by hand, believe it or not. So this first series is arithmetic because it's got a multiplier of 9 and then plus or minus some number. And you can write out the first few terms if you want to. I'm asking you to see pages 40 and 41, see how that works out for you. And whoops, let me emphasize that. So in order to do this, we need the first term, which is what you get when you plug in the lower limit. That's 9 times 1 minus 6, which is 3. And we need the last term, which is what you plug in the last number, and you get 9 times 1366 minus 6, turns out to be 12,288. You can verify that. You may recall that when you have the sigma notation, you can figure out how many terms there are by taking the upper limit minus the lower limit plus 1. That's 1366 minus the lower limit plus 1, and you're back to 1366 again. So the sum is given by the formula on page 40, I believe. It's the first number plus the last number times the number of numbers divided by 2, and that's 8,394,753, which is the same thing we got last time. Okay, cool. Number 10. This series is geometric. Let me make it a little bigger so you can see it. Now, I would use Wolfram Alpha. Copy that over. Whoops, wrong one. WOLFR. Whoops. I kind of just glad I did that because this is how easy it is to go to Wolfram Alpha. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. And let's see if what he interprets this to mean is what we want to mean. 3 times 4 to the k is 16,383. Yep, that's the answer from 0 to 6, 16,383. Notice that he didn't put it in parentheses, and we actually could have put 3 times 4 without putting parentheses because it will work anyway. Why? Because it does the exponent before it does the multiply. And this is not 12 to the k. This is 3 times 4 to the k. And that's what that means. And that's what that means. And it's the same answer as you can see. All right. Number 11. It's got infinity in it. And the only kind we know about is geometric, infinite geometric series. And it turns out that's what it is. And because the multiplier, if you write out the first few numbers, you'll get 5 times 3/7 squared plus 5 times 3/7 to the third power plus 5 times 3/7 to the fourth power. So every term is the previous term times 3/7. Aha. And again, you can take those magic words and go to Wolfram Alpha. Hopefully it's still there. Key that in, hit the enter key or the equal sign, and go ahead and make sure that the series on display here, the interpretation of our input, is equal to what we have. It sometimes can be a little different, but it's got to be equivalent to it. So they come up with 45/28 or 1.607 approximately. And this all started because a student asked me last week, can I work these by hand? I'm like, yeah, if you really want to. So here it is. This is an infinite geometric series. See page 50. The sum is the first term a sub 1 over 1 minus r. So we got to figure out what the first term is. And it's going to be, well, let's see, 5 times 3/7 to the second power, because our first term is what we plug in the lower limit. The lower limit is 2. So 3/7 squared is 9/49. 5 times 9/49 is 45/49. And again, the multiplier is 3/7. Look at your page 50 and those following. So your sum is a sub 1 over 1 minus r, 45/49 over 1 minus 3/7. You recall we changed 1 to 7/7 because if you use that denominator over itself for 1, we can easily subtract 7/7 minus 3/7 is 4/7, which means 45/99 times, not 4/7, 7/4. And we get 315 over 196. Or if you want to, you can cancel 7 and 49. 7 and 7 goes one time, and 7 and 49 is 7. So 45 times 1 would be 45, and 7 times 4 would be 28. Either way, both of these reduce to 1.6071. If you divide 315 by 196, you will get the same exact thing. Number 12, the GPA. Okay, credit hours attempted. At this college, it's the second digit from the left, so 13343, and a D is worth 1 point per credit hour. So 1 point per credit hour times 1 credit hour is 1. A C is 2 points per credit hour, so 2 points per credit hour times 3 credit hours is 6. An F is worth 0 points per credit hour. An A is worth 4 points per credit hour. 4 times 4 is 16, and the B is worth 3 points per credit hour. So 3 points times 3 points is 9. The points earned are 1 plus 6 plus 16 plus 9. You could add the 0, but it doesn't do anything. That's 32. Now the hours attempted, you even count the F as hours attempted. So 1, 4, 7, 11, 14. Take out your handy dandy Kmart calculator. You divide 32 by 14, you get 2.285. And the 5 is big enough to round it to 2.29. And it says over here in the directions, got to read everything to 2 decimal places. So that's what that means, to 2 decimal places. Number 13. This is a simple, believe it or not, proportion. It's 18 cc's for each 15 kilograms of body weight. So 18 cc's for 15 kilograms of body weight is X cc's if the patient weighs 105. Cross multiply, 15 times that. I left off kilograms and cc's because it just makes it kind of obfuscated. 15x equals 105 times 18. And believe it or not, it comes out equal to 126. I hope this has been of some use to you. I'll see you next time we see each other.